A crucial starting pitcher for the Seattle Mariners has been injured. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the weekly episode of the Seattle Baseline Podcast. My name is Julian Smith, and I'm with Alex Hong. Well, Alex, we just got information that Logan Evans has gotten injured. But before that, I want to talk about the Seahawks because the Seattle Seahawks are in the Super Bowl. They're actually there and they're playing none other than the Patriots. I can't be the only Seattle sports fan that gets PTSD from seeing Seahawks versus Patriots, especially in the last minute of the game. Just doesn't feel good. So, as much as the Seahawks are favored, there's I need more. Like I need the Seahawks to be like guaranteed the win. So Alex, I know you're a Seahawks fan as well. How's I think the Seahawks are gonna win.
Well, I also think the Seahawks are going to win. It's going to be a cool Super Bowl, I think. The Rams, I think, were a very big challenge, right? They're one of the best teams in the league. I think the Patriots are definitely an inferior team compared to the Rams, but I mean, it'll still be probably a tough game, right? So we'll see how it goes. But I think the Seahawks, they have a lot of advantages going into the Super Bowl that I think will help them. But yeah, I mean, the Patriots Seahawks is going to be a lot different though than the one like 10 years ago, right? It was like Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, and the Legion Boom, right? Compared to what it is now, which is not, what that was. So it'll be interesting, cool to see. And, maybe if the Seahawks win, right, then it'll set up. Actually, this has been just a good sports like era in general for Seattle, right? Mariners make it to really far in the playoffs, right? They win the West, and then the Seahawks, they're in the Super Bowl. So hopefully the Seahawks don't fall short though, like the Mariners did, and actually win it. But yeah, it's gonna be a cool game. I'm definitely gonna watch next weekend.
Yeah, and I like our defense. That's the biggest thing. I love the defense that the Seahawks have. Legion of Boom was a great defensive team. The team that we have now, still a great defensive team. And Sam Darnold's gonna throw it to JSN, just run it right down the field, and we're gonna get a bunch of points and we're gonna win the game.
Mhm.
Um, so because the Seahawks are in the Super Bowl, I decided I wanted to try something new because I wasn't really into the Seahawks at the time of the Super Bowl when the Seahawks were in the Super Bowl last time. So this is a new experience for me. I'm gonna make myself some pasta. As a college student, that was like the first thing that came to my mind. So I made Alfredo. It was one of the best things that I've made recently. And do you, Alex? Do you have college dishes that you've made that are like that as a college student you're super happy about?
What I cook is very basic, to be honest. Like pasta's, you can make it a little more complicated, but I make pretty basic pasta. I don't know. There's not too many dishes besides like the ones that a lot of people make, like fried rice. It's pretty easy, right? There's a lot of stuff like that, but I am looking though to try to make some more creative stuff. I want to have the time I could try to, experiment here or there. I do bake some stuff sometimes. My sister does bake, so then she taught me how, kind of. So I don't know. It's like a learning process in college, but we will definitely both get better, I think.
Yeah, I need to start making like tailgate foods. As
Oh, for
unhealthy as
sports,
they
yeah.
seem, the Super Bowl, I need to be able to make the foods that match the scene. So that's going to be super fun. Um, the Mariners right now, as I said in the start of the video, the Mariners lost Logan Evans. Logan Evans, I think, is a really crucial part of the Mariners rotation, specifically because he's the first backup to the Mariners. And last year, George Kirby got injured to start the season. And you had to put in Emerson Hancock and then you had to put in Logan Evans. Now we don't have that luxury because Emerson Hancock is a reliever and Logan Evans is out. So that's 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 frustrating because now you have to look at Durangelo Cijntje, who's barely maybe going to be in AAA to start the season. He might be AA to start the season. I don't know that far. Nobody knows that far. And you have Kate Anderson, who's never played a professional baseball game in his life. And so that's that's where the Mariners stand, where now you've lost the crucial backup and you have to work around if you don't have any more injuries, that's great, but you have to work around the minor league guys who clearly don't have enough time as a professional baseball player to step up if you do have the injuries.
Yeah, I mean, this goes to show we're probably gonna have to keep. I mean, we're most likely gonna keep Luis Castillo regardless, but now it looks like we really have to keep him because there's no one that can fill in right now that we're fully confident in, right? I mean, sure we can like let's say someone does get injured, and last year we did have a good amount of injuries. Now, no one was like out for the entire season last year, but you never know, right? Like, teams can get unlucky, right? Logan Evans, he's out right for the entire year now because the Tommy John, he needs Tommy Johns, and then I mean, worst case, it could happen again. It could happen in the middle of the season. So we have to be prepared, right? So if we look at the Mariners' depth right now, it's not looking too good. Now, if someone did get injured for like a few weeks, right, then you could probably afford to bullpen day here or there or call up some random person from AAA, right, and just have him start. But if someone does get into a longer term injury, we might need an actual reinforcement to try to resolve the situation. I mean, this is not a team that should be bullpenning like every single like have a permanent bullpen there, right? That's not what a team wants to do. So, looking at the two most likely options that can be a long-term replacement with success, you do mention Kate Anderson and Gerangelo Sanger. Now, those are not for sure fire home runs either. Kate Anderson has yet to play a minor league game. We don't know if he's even going to come up next this coming year. We're not completely sure. And with Sanger, looks like his projection is to come up in 2026, according to MLB Pipeline, but that we don't know, right? And is he going to be effective, right? So we could try to analyze and talk more about both of these prospects, but the situation right now is that the Mariners are definitely lacking some depth if we want success for our fifth starter. If someone were to get injured.
Yeah, and like when we talk about injuries, the first thing that comes up in my mind is Bryce Miller because he was supposed to have a surgery to finish last season, but the Mariners pushed him to go through the playoffs because we needed him during the playoffs. Brian Wu was injured throughout the playoffs, and Bryce Miller held it together. He was great in the playoffs, but how good is he going to be after that injury season that he had? George Kirby started the year on an injury, and Logan Gilbert never looked the same after he was injured. There is there is no reason for me to come out here and say I am completely confident that the Mariners are not going to get injured. 2024 after the 2024 season, I would have told everybody that's watching that the Mariners are a very good injury managing team, especially with their pitching staff, and the Mariners are looking good going into 2025. That's what I would have said after 2024. Everything's different now. Every pitcher other than Castillo had an injury in 2025. What is there for me to believe that the Mariners pitching staff is not going to suffer another injury? And now if we get injured, what are we going to do?
I mean, look, the pitching is also supposed to be a strength of the Mariners, right? If, God forbid, Cal Raleigh or Julio Rodriguez gets injured, that's really, really bad, right? Because we have a really good player getting replaced by someone who's probably not that good. If, like, let's say our second baseman, who right now, who knows who it is, got injured, it might not be as bad. So this is the problem in the sense that if our strength were to get injured, our replacements for that strength are not that good. And this team, for the Mariners to be good, they are going to have to rely on their pitching staff. I mean, that might go for every team in the league, but especially for the Mariners, right? They built their team basically around the pitching staff. Now, I think we should do a little more of an analysis on Kate Anderson and Cijntje to see do we think they'll be ready and what can they actually bring for us in 2026 if it's necessary for them to come up. So I think first, Julian, let's start with Kate Anderson. So he got drafted in the first round by the Mariners, right? Third overall in this most past draft. So you usually might be thinking, oh, if someone just got drafted, they're not coming in for a few years. But this is a little different story. Cade has had a good amount of college experience. He was very, very good, right, in college. Um, a similar person who was very, very good, not as good, or not, he's probably better than Kate Anderson was when he was coming out of college, is Paul Skeens. Now, Paul Skeens with the Pirates, when he got drafted, he got called up around, I'd say, the middle of the season after he got drafted. So for Cade, this would be the upcoming season. Now, that usually doesn't happen. A lot of times the pitchers don't get called up that fast. So in a scenario where Kate Anderson looks like he's dealing in the minor leagues, he could get called up, but we're not sure, right? This is not a normal thing for people to get drafted and come get called up right away. So, Julian, what are your thoughts on Kate Anderson?
Well, yeah. First to say the my point about the Paul Skeens thing, we're talking about Paul Skeens. Like we're talking about this is a guy who's like a franchise player for even some of the best teams in the league. If he were to go over to another team, Kate Anderson, um, same college as Paul Skeens, LSU, super strong baseball school. I think with Kate Anderson, I have a lot of confidence that he's a consistent player, specifically because even in the college playoffs, he was able to consistently put out the same strength that he was putting out in the regular season. The pressure doesn't get to him the same way that it does for a lot of different players. The For him, he has a lot more. He knows pitch placement. He knows even if it's a big moment, he's going to have a lot of consistency, and he's going to be able to not just control the ball to put it in the zone, but command the ball to be able to put it in the edges of that zone. He might not have a strong fastball. He might not have strong secondary pitches. He only has four pitches, which you can work around that. Luis Castillo only has four pitches, but his consistency and command, those are the two things that strike me as somebody who can come out and deal at the highest level of Major League Baseball. I think Kate Anderson is a top choice when it comes to the replacement for Logan Evans. He might even be better than Logan Evans.
Yeah, and look, the Mariners, if they do a good thing with pitchers, they're very good at developing pitchers' fastball. All our pitchers are good at the fastball. So, and Kate Anderson's fastball plays a lot better than I think his velocity does because he has that rise with his fastball. So, I think even if the fastball is not that fast, I know pitchers are coming out throwing 100 miles per hour, right? Which is 10 years ago, even a pitcher throwing 100 miles per hour would have been like crazy, right? It's like a really, really standard. But now it's just like a lot of pitchers do it. You don't have to throw that fast to be good. One thing is with a lot of our pitchers is like George Kirby, for example, his thing is more about like location of the pitches rather than just throwing it as fast as you can, right? So we have a good and look at the Mariners. They don't have any left-handed pitchers. It's not like we're rolling out two left-handed pitchers who pitch the same. We have not. We don't have a left-handed starter. We haven't had one for a while. So think I'm pretty excited about Cade. We'll see how he does um in minor leagues. We'll see where he gets placed. That will probably be a good indicator. He'll probably get put in double A in my opinion. I think that's where they should put him. And if he does improve a lot, then they can promote him. But I feel like they'll put him in minor or double A because of the experience he has in college. But yeah, there's a lot of good things right about Kate Anderson, very high potential, and we'll just have to see how it plays out. But for the next coming season, we don't know. Like if Kate
No.
Anderson has some stuff that the Mariners want to work on with him on, if we just promote him right to the major leagues, he might not have the chance to work on that stuff that the Mariners want, and that could hurt his development. So it's a big risk. I don't think we should promote him unless we actually think he's ready. We should not just promote him because oh, we need a guy. We need to get him in there, right? So I've seen teams do that in the past, and it usually doesn't. Also, usually when they do get promoted, they don't play very well and they get sent back down. Even if they, so in my personal opinion, I think this is not an option that we should rely on. This should not be we're going to wait for Cade Anderson to get called up. That should not be the mentality of the Mariners. It should be, oh, if he's ready, then let's put him out there. But if not, then it's okay. So I think we should prioritize the long-term development of Cade Anderson over, oh shoot, we need a guy. Let's just get Cade in there, right? I think that's the mentality they should do. Because when you have a prospect this good, we don't want to mess up the development.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. I think Cade Anderson is one of those special players. When when Cade Anderson can figure out how to when Cade Anderson can develop the the movement of his pitches, that's when I think Cade Anderson's going to step up. I think if I'd like to see a little bit more fastball velocity, around 95 is what I'd like to see from Cade Anderson, but 93 works as especially when it's rising the way that you were talking about, especially when he has the command that he has more command than Paul Skeens. He's actually a better command pitcher than Paul Skeens is as an LSU pitcher. And so he has a lot of potential. I don't want to mess up his development, but I do think that if there is a player that's being called up, Cade Anderson is my first bet over Drangelo Cijntje. But we should totally talk about Drangelo Cijntje as well.
Yeah, Cijntje is a very interesting player. There's very few pitchers like him because he is a switch pitcher. I remember the Mariners used to have the switch pitcher back then whose name is escaping me right now, but uh do you remember who the switch pitcher was,
No,
Julian?
no,
Okay, well, I know it was Pat Vendetti. I remember him. He used to play for the Mariners for a little bit. He mostly played on the Oakland A's, but he was a guy where Pat Vendetti was a guy who he pitched like right. Let's say a righty was coming up, he pitched right-handed, and then let's say a lefty was coming up, he switched to left-handed. They made it like a rule with him in the case that if it was a switch hitter, the switch hitter will get the advantage over the switch pitcher. But so that's how that would work in case that ends up happening. But yeah, I mean, Pat Vendetti, he was okay, right? He wasn't like a superstar or anything, but Giancarlo Cijntje, he's like a high level prospect with the Mariners. Now, he's a little bit different than Pat Vendetti in the sense that his right-handed is a lot better than his left-handed, which is interesting because he is a natural lefty. But growing up, he wanted to, I believe the story is he wanted to copy his dad, who was a right-handed pitcher, so then he started learning how to throw righty. So I can explain some statistics about his righty versus lefty. His righty he has a very fast fastball, around 98 miles per hour, right, which is pretty fast. Um, he's a lot better right-handed, at least in terms of what everyone thinks. They think he can be a right-handed starter. His left hand, on the other hand, is not as strong. If you want to touch his fastball is like low 90s. He has a good slider there, here or there, but they think he's more of going to be a relief pitcher in lefty. So it's a very interesting development with Cijntje, as in, okay, are they going to play him? Is he going to be a right-handed starter? And then on the days he's not starting, is he going to throw left-handed? Like, it's going to be a very interesting situation, right? This is a very It's a very unique prospect that has not like these you don't really get prospects like this, right? With Otani, he was like a hitter and a pitcher, right? That's very, very rare. This is arguably more rare, right? A switch pitcher, that's like I've never even seen something like that in a long time. So, Julian, what are your thoughts? How do you think it'll go with Senja, and what do you think the Mariners should do?
I like Sanja's fastball, as you mentioned. I also really like his breaking balls. I like that his slider and changeup go opposite directions. I think that that's something that's important. For example, Andres Munoz, Matt Brash, they had fastball slider, but when they added the changeup, that's when the hitters really became unbalanced. Not to say that they were bad when they only had the fastball and the slider, but it's to say they've gotten so much better with that. Their ability to keep the hitters guessing, that went up 100%. And that's something that Drangelo Cijntje is able to do, especially from the right side. From the left hand side, I don't think he's that good lefty. the the left hand side is more of a it seems more of a gimmick to say that he's a switch pitcher. I think he is a right-handed pitcher that can play left-handed pitching, but not a good enough level to play at the majors or the minor league level. And so even if a lefty batter comes up, Durangelo Cijntje should still be a right-handed pitcher, and that's in my opinion, that's the way that Durangelo Cijntje's arsenal works best. Is if he plays right-handed for most of his career. If they can develop his left-handed pitching, then great. That's great. But at this point, Durangelo Cijntje is not good enough left-handed, and I'd love to see him come up as a righty. I think Cade Anderson was great for me because Cade Anderson was stable, and I feel like I know what I'm getting when I watch Cade Anderson pitch. Versus with Durangelo Cijntje, I still don't know. I still don't know how he's going to perform in the majors, and so that's my biggest hit. But still, Durangelo Cijntje has been coming up in the minors really fast, and so he might be the one over Cade Anderson if the Mariners prioritize Cade Anderson's development and they believe that Durangelo Cijntje is developed decently enough to be in the majors.
Yeah, I mean, it's he has a lot of potential, right? Because he can pitch. He has the ability to pitch with both arms, but is that going to work in actuality? We're not sure, right? And the usual benefit with the switch hitting, right, is that the player's good at both, right? So he's able to do both, even if he's like a hitter. Let's say they're really good at righty, they're only like kind of good at lefty, but maybe their lefty hitting still has to be better than when you bat righty against the right-handed pitcher, right? Or else what's the point, right? So if Cijntje can pitch lefty, but his righty would still be better against the lefties, he should just pitch lefty, right? That should just be what it is.
Right.
And there is the potential, like I said, of maybe, oh, they use Cijntje as a right-handed pitcher, but then they maybe use him as a reliever. That's still a lot of work for a pitcher to do, in my opinion. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he does. But in terms of the 2026 season, right? I mean, we just talked about a lot of uncertainty and mystery with him. So this is going to be very, if we just put him in the majors right now, I don't even know what to expect. I really don't know what I'm going to see, right? So like, I know MLB Pipeline says Sage is ready for the 2026 season, like some point in the 2026 season. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. I'm gonna have to see more of his development. He did pitch in the end double A's at the end of the year last year, so we'll see how he looks in spring training, right, and the rest of the minors going through. But if we do call up Cijntje, I am not going to be expecting too much success this year. I don't even know what to expect. It might be a wild. It could be a 10 inning or 10 run inning. It could be, I don't know. He could do really well, right? Who knows? But it'll be tough to say. I'm not sure we should rely on Cijntje though to save the Mariners if we need him to, right? If he does get called up, it might be more of like an experiment. Okay, let's see how he does, right? This is a big project the Mariners took on. You don't just draft a switch pitcher there's a lot of question marks, knowing like or not with the assumption that it's going to be a project. So the way I see it between the two, even though Cade hasn't pitched in the minors yet, I feel like I still have a little more faith in him because he had a lot of college experience, right? He is older than Cijntje, right? So yeah, I think that's the way I view it, right? And we'll see how it goes, to be honest.
Then again, we have never seen these players in the major leagues. None. You could
Mhm.
make the argument college is like the minor leagues, so Cade Anderson has some sort of that professional ish development, but you still don't know. And that's where it's really hard to judge how good these guys are. But I think even though it's hard to judge, I think that with pitchers, it's a lot easier because with batters, they're looking at the pitch and they're reacting to the pitch. They're reactionary versus with pitchers, they're active. The pitcher can attack. Like Brian Wu was saying during the interview, the pitcher's job is to attack the hitter. And with that's why even though we don't know how Kate Anderson and D'Angelo Cijntje would be in the majors, we still have an idea of what their pitch mix looks like and how they can use their arsenal against major league batters. So I think that's that's the strength that the pitchers tend to have, and that clears up a little bit of uncertainty. I hope none of our pitchers get injured, but with the way that the with the way that it's trending right now, we can't be so certain about anything with the pitchers.
Okay, those are some good thoughts, Julian. To finish up here, with these two, right? I mean, there you might be asking, okay, do we have any other prospects, right? We do have Ryan Sloan, but it looks like he's not going to be ready for the 2026 season, so that's kind of a person we'll push off for later. And then there's also like Michael Morales, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about him, so I'm a little uncertain about his status, but he was drafted in 2021, so it has been a while, and he did pitch in Double A last year, so maybe if we didn't want to bring up Cade um Cade or Cijntje, we could just if we needed someone there for temporary purposes, we could bring up like this guy like Michael Morales or just any third. Honestly, like if there is someone out for a little bit of time, we can just call up someone right from AAA and have them pitch, right? It's not or just run a bullpen day. I mean, sometimes you're just gonna have to live with that, but this is more of a long-term issue type of situation where maybe you would have to see where you are with Cade or maybe call him up a little earlier than expected, but it's still a risk to run because you don't want to call someone early and mess their development and have them not be a good player in the future when if they had more time in the minor leagues, they could have. So I think that's the most important thing to watch out for. But yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah. Let us know what you think. Who should the Mariners call up, and what are the Mariners' next moves? Do they sign Brendan Donovan? Do they trade for Brendan Donovan? Do they sign Eugenio Suarez? I don't know. Maybe they just go with the players that they have now in the minors. But I'd love to know your opinion. Please leave a comment. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and our beautiful faces on YouTube. Check out our Instagram. And as always, go Mariners.
Go Mariners.